Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Sa pagpapasimula po tayo manalangin. Aming Ama at aming Diyos na mapagpala, maputi sa lahat. Nagpapasalamat po kami sa oras na ito na muli kaming makapag-aaral ng iyong mga salita. Ang aming dalangin, ang mga nangungulila ay iyong aliwin. Ang mga nangapipigat ang lubha ay iyong bigyan ng kagaanan ng kalooban. Ang mga kinukulang at kinakapos ay bigyan mo ng kapunuan. At ang sinumang naghahanap ng kahulugan ng buhay, matagpuan ito sa liwanag ng iyong mga salita. Ito po ang aming dalangin sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen. Some of us are endlessly looking for the meaning and purpose of life. At yun naman din walang katapusan sa paghahanap na ito. There seems to be no end to this quest of finding the meaning of life. And Solomon also did his homework of finding out what is best during the short time he had on earth. At ito po ang kanyang patotoo. Ang sabi po niya sa Ecclesiastes chapter 2 verse 3 ay ganito. I wanted to find out what was best for us during the short time we have on this earth. So I decided to make myself happy with wine and find out what it means to be foolish without really being foolish myself. Hinanap ni Solomon ang tunay na pinakamabuti, ang pinakamainam na gawin sa maikling panahon na nabubuhay siya at mabubuhay siya sa mundong ito. Tayo po ay narito pa rin sa ating pag-uusap patungkol sa finding meaning in life at kagaya ni Solomon ating tinitingnan. We are trying to discern the meaning of life. So what thoughts come to your mind when you hear the word money? Kapag narinig po niyo ang salitang salapi o pera, ano po ang pumapasok sa inyong isipan? Can you mention some? Can you say some? Madalang sabi ng iba, well, when I hear the word money, ang pumapasok agad sa isip ko, I need it, I want it. That's true. Some people might say, when I hear the word money, ang pumapasok agad sa isip ko, evil. When some people hear the word money o pera, ang lagi nilang sinasabi, yes, more, please, more. And some people would say, kapag narinig nila salitang pera, kulang at kulang pa rin. Solomon said in chapter 10, verse 19, and this is his testimony. This is what he said. One of the things he said about money. Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 19, ang sabi niya, a party gives laughter, wine gives happiness, and money gives everything. In the first part of the verse, he mentioned about celebration. Party gives laughter, wine gives happiness, celebration. But also, he added this, money gives everything. Yan po yung sinabi sa New Living Translation. And if we are going to compare yung pong sinabi sa Contemporary English Version, ang sabi doon ay, eating and drinking make you feel happy, and money can buy everything you need. Money can buy everything you need. If we will compare the translation sa NIV, ang sabi po ng NIV, New International Version, a feast is made for laughter, wine makes life merry, and money is the answer for everything. We need to admit it that some people have issues with money. And this is both for the rich and the poor. Hindi po lamang ang mahirap ang may suliranin, may issue sa pera, may pangangailangan marahil sa pera. Even the rich have some issues. And when we say issues, hindi po lamang problema, kundi hindi lamang po pangangailangan kundi ilang bagay na pinoproblema. Like some issues that we know about money is mishandling money. That's one of the issues. Another issue about money is using other people's money which was entrusted to you. Pinakialaman mo. Stealing money is also a money issue. Pagnanakaw in general ng pera na hindi naman talaga para sa'yo. What about this? Another money issue, losing millions on gambling. What about bankruptcy? Ilang kumpanya, ilang negosyo ang nag-file ng bankruptcy kasi nalugi. Ilang pang issue tungkol sa pananalapi ay yung pagiging garantor ng isang utang na ikaw ang mananagot kapag hindi nakabayad ang primary na ng utang. That could be a money issue. Mga hindi makabayad ng utang, hindi makabayad ng mortgage. And this is also money issue. What about dumating ang natural disasters na wala kang control, biglang nawala ang tahanan, nawala ang mga bagay-bagay na mahalaga sa iyo. And another money issue na dumarating sa buhay ng maraming mga tao at alam kong makaka-identify tayo dito. What about health problems? Na bigla na lamang nagkaroon ng mga pangangailangang pinansyal because of the health problems ng pamilya o ng isang miyembro ng pamilya. Hindi na po natin isasama dyan yung ating laging narinig na mga money issue kagaya ng corruption and bribery kasi alam na po natin yon. And so, Solomon is saying here today, ironically, to destroy your life, let money control you. But Solomon is actually saying this is actually what he says and what we would like to submit and to give to you. Solomon is saying, do not let money control you. Do not let money control you. Now, do you remember our definition of genius in this series? We talk about the different definitions here of stupid, smart, and genius. We say stupid means you make the same mistake over and over. We say smart, you're smart means you learn from your mistakes. Pero sabi nga po natin sa genius, it means you learn from other people's mistakes. And that's exactly what we are trying to do here. We're trying to learn from other people's mistakes, none other than Solomon. And so let us look at the context of Ecclesiastes chapter 10. Yung pong mga talata na ating binasa o yung talata na ating binasa chapter 10, that money is the answer to everything. We need to understand po na as poetry, ang Ecclesiastes po ay isang poetry. We need to consider that this book contains the ideas of truth, irony, and exaggeration. And because this is the theme ng Ecclesiastes, ang kanya pong pagnanais ay ang genre niya, ang kanyang pangungusap ay poetry. Kinakailangan i-consider natin na sa Ecclesiastes po at ang mga sinasabi sa aklat ng Ecclesiastes, maging sa aklat ng Kawikaan at iba pong mga poetry po, mga books, it contains the ideas of truth, irony, and exaggeration. So how then should we how then should we understand Solomon here in chapter 10, verse 19? First, we need to understand the element of truth. Solomon is describing to us life under the sun. That's the context of the book of Ecclesiastes. Sinabi po niya yan sa umpisa, paulit-ulit, under the sun. And so Solomon here is describing us life under the sun. It speaks of life on earth. Yung buhay tungkol dito sa lupa. Kapag ang pag-uusapan ay buhay patungkol sa lupa, ito yung sinasabi ko. And so we use money to get most of what we need. Wala po yatang bansa na walang pangangailangan ng pera. At lahat po, halos ng bansa, lahat ng bansa, masasabi natin, ay may kanya-kanyang currency. Absolutely, no one can deny that money, it could be card, credit card, electronic, or online. Ang dami na pong klase ng paraan ng pagbabayad ngayon. No one can deny that money is the means of getting things we need. No one can deny it. Under the sun, when we speak of life on earth, no one can deny that money is the means of getting things we need. Pupunta ka sa tindahan, hindi pwedeng wala kang dalang pera, lalo higit marami na ngayon ang hindi nagpapautang. Kasi ang sabi nila, utang ka ngayon, hindi tayo magkagalit, pag siningil ka, galit ka na, kaya marami na ngayon ang hindi nagpapautang. Pero if you go anywhere and you need something, you need money. Kailangan po natin ng pera. In a sense, money can buy everything you need, or money is the answer for everything. In that sense, under the sun, because if you're going to the store, if you're going to pay your bills, utility bills, maaring electricity, maaring water, whatever it is, whether we need it or not, whether we like it or not, we're gonna be needing money. Money can buy everything you need, or money is the answer for everything under the sun. Whether we need food, clothing, transportation, pamasahe, housing loan, tuition fees. What about this? Doctor's visit, hospital bills. At doon sa mga may edad na, what about the maintenance medicine? And of course, we need new cell phone. Maybe every 10 years. Hindi po ba? And everything, para po magkaroon ng mga bagay na ito na ating kailangan, we need money. So there's an element of truth doon sa sinabi ni Solomon sa Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 19. Pero there is also an element to understand the genre, an element of irony or exaggeration. It is also true that money cannot buy everything you need, or it is the answer to everything. Totoo rin po yun. It is an exaggeration. And maybe we need to understand also what Solomon is writing to us, that there is a bit element, there's a little element of exaggeration. Because we know that people who have money might tell a doctor, Doc, do everything and I'll pay you, because the money is limitless. Walang problema sa pera. But when the doctor said he already did everything and there was nothing he could do, money could not add life. Money cannot answer everything. This is the irony of life. At totoo pong nangyayari yan. And so, the statement money is the answer to everything has both the shade of truth and an exaggeration. We need to validate the fact na may katotohanan sa sinabi niya, but there is also an element or shade of exaggeration. We need to establish the fact that money is important. It is not evil. However, no one should make money their God or ruler. Money should not control our lives. It should not control our decisions. It should not control our happiness. If it will control your life, your decision, or your happiness, you will be lonely and you will regret it. We should not even use money to control other people. Rather, we should use money to serve people. Money is a servant, not a master. Money is not the problem. Our attitude toward money is the problem. Hindi po problema ang pera. Ang problema, yung naghahawak ng pera. Yung attitude ng tao na may hawak ng pera. That is the problem in most cases. And so let me suggest some attitudes about money. Ito po ang ilan at magbibigay lamang po ako ng ilan. At hindi po ito, this is not exhaustive, hindi po ito halos lahat ng mga attitude. One is called asceticism. Ito po ang isang attitude sa tinatawag nating money. Asceticism is saying, you should not enjoy money, you should not enjoy possession, you should not enjoy thing or anything at all. Asceticism. At meron pong mga tao na nabubuhay ng tila man din ganito. You should not enjoy money at all. At ito po isang misconception. And misconception number one that I can tell you is this. It is God's will for His people to be poor. Paniniwala po ng mga naniniwala sa view na ito ng asceticism that you should not enjoy money. You should not enjoy any possession you have. You should not enjoy anything you have at all. Ay naniniwala na kalooban ng Diyos na ang tao ay maging mahirap. It is true that God wants us to help the poor, but the Bible does not teach that it is God's plan for His people to live poorly. Another misconception concerning this is God desires His people not to enjoy anything in the world. Dapat hindi tayo nasisiyahan sa anumang mga bagay na iniaalok ng sanlibutan ito. At kung ang pera nakapagbibigay sa iyo ng kagalakan at katuwaan, ayaw ng Diyos yan. Kasi ayaw ng Diyos na ikaw ay matuwa sa anumang bagay sa sanlibutan ito. Another misconception. Another problem. Another extreme view about money. Asceticism. Do not enjoy money. Do not enjoy possession at all. Do not enjoy anything you have. And so, meron po tayo makikita na ilang grupo na hanggang ngayon ay nag-exist pa. At ang mga Amish people tend to deny themselves with any type of modernization. And it is a faith-driven lifestyle. We respect them of their view because it is guided by their faith. Pero meron pong ganitong mga pamumuhay pa sa ngayon. No car with engine. Kinakailangan hinihilang po ng mga kabayo, mga kanilang sakyan. No electricity. No new technology. And of course, if there's no new technology, walang cellphone. Marahil. Walang television. Sapagkat ang paniniwala ay may pinaghuhugutan na God's desires His people not to enjoy anything in the world. Another extreme view is called materialism, kabaliktaran po ng asceticism. At ang sinasabi naman po ng materialism is money or possession or thing alone can satisfy. And the misconception here, and we can say misconception number one is that paniniwala po dito sa materialism or sa this view is money is everything we can enjoy. If you want to enjoy life, you must have money. They jump from one valuable possession to another. Lahat ng pwedeng bilhin ng pera, bibilin para maging masaya, para maging masatisfying. And so they need more money because money is everything na makapagbibigay ng kaligayahan. Misconception, hindi po ba? Another misconception in this view is that money is the solution to all man's problems. Wala nang higit pang solusyon sa problema ng tao kundi ang pera. If it is, kung totoo itong salita na ito o pinaghuhugutan ito, why are the rich and famous people were still lonely, dissatisfied, insecure, some even committing suicide? So watch out, mag-ingat po tayo. Both too little enjoyment, which is asceticism, and extravagant enjoyment, which is materialism, of money or possessions are incorrect views. Let me say that again. Both too little enjoyment and extravagant enjoyment of money or possessions are incorrect views. And so, where is the middle? Where is the center? What is the balanced view on enjoying money, on possessing money? Proverbs chapter 30 verses 7 to 9, ang sabi po ay ganito. Two things I ask of you, Lord, do not refuse me before I die. Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise, I may have too much and disown you and say, who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and steal and so dishonor the name of my God. Ito po yung balansyado. Now, let me remind you mga kamag-aaral na ang Proverbs 30 ay hindi po salita at pangungusap ni Solomon. This is from Agur, na malimit na napapagkamalan na salita ni Solomon. And yet, we can incorporate this view because I believe that this is the balanced view on enjoying money, possession, or things. Na ipanalangin natin sa Diyos. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Very balanced, but give me only my daily bread. Bakit? Bakit hindi bigyan ng riches at bakit hindi bigyan ng poverty? Bakit hindi yun at ibigay ang pang-araw-araw na buhay? The reason behind, ang sabi po ni Agur, otherwise I may have too much and disown you. Baka hindi na kita kilalanin kapag marami na akong salapi. Possession. Baka hindi na ako maging dependent sa iyo, Panginoon, at matanong pa kita, sino ka, hindi kita kailangan. Or, kung ako na may sumubrang maghirap, at dumating ako sa level na napakahirap ko, baka naman ako'y magnakaw, at aking i-dishonor, aking hamakin ang iyong pangalan. You know, as a rich man, Solomon wanted to pick in his journal. He wanted us to pick in his journal, silipin. He wanted us to see in his journal and learn from him in the areas of money management. Gusto niya matuto tayo. In case you don't have any idea how rich Solomon was, let me reveal to you his riches or possessions. Sa mga kamag-aaral po natin na marahil hindi pa nalalaman kung gaano talaga ka-credible ang kanyang credibility sa pagsasalita ng kayamanan, money management, or money coaching. Let me tell you kung siya ay credible to speak about money and possession. King Solomon is a credible source to discuss wealth. I tell you. Let me tell you the reason. First Kings chapter 10 verses 14 hanggang 17. Solomon received almost 23 tons of gold a year. The merchants and traders, as well as the kings of Arabia and rulers from Israel also gave him gold. Solomon made 200 gold shields and used almost 7 kilograms of gold for each one. He also made 300 smaller gold shields using almost 2 kilograms for each one. And he put the shields in his palace in Forest Hall. Makikita po niyo dito mga kamag-aral kung gaano kayaman si Solomon. 23 tons of gold a year. I don't know how many years nakakatanggap siya. Maybe some years are less, maybe some years are more, but this is the average. Perhaps 23 tons of gold a year. Gaano siya kayaman? Binibigyan po siya ng iba't ibang mga hari, ng mga kapwa-hari niya. Na kung sa mga panahong ito ay nakakatanggap tayo ng regalo kapag birthday natin at sasabihin natin, oh, nakatanggap na naman ako ng jacket na yung birthday ko. O ang mga babae magsasabi na, nakatanggap na naman ako ng bestida ngayong birthday ko. Kapag si Solomon ang tinanong niyo, sasabihin niya, oh, ginto na naman ang aking natanggap. Pangkaraniwan sa kanya makatanggap ng ginto. Pagbubukas niya ng regalo, ginto na naman. And so King Solomon was describing his general experience about wealth. Credible po siya magsalita about wealth. As a one-time COO and CEO or king of Israel, he had a lot of experience with wealth. He had wealth. He was wealthy. Kapag ang isang tao po ay nakakatanggap ng 23 tons, 23 tonelada ng ginto kada taon, you'd better listen when he speaks about wealth. And I will suggest, mga kamag-aral, huwag po niyong itigil ang pagbasa. Continue to read 1 Kings chapter 10 to know of Solomon's wealth. Because Solomon was distinctively credible to speak and coach everyone with money. Let's listen to what he said. Of course, isang tao nakakatanggap ng 23 tons of gold more or less average every year. I will listen to what he says about money, about possession. Solomon is without a doubt a great financial advisor. Solomon was without a doubt a money coach. Kung meron pong basketball coach, kung meron pong volleyball coach, meron ding money coach. At mayahanay natin si Solomon sa pagiging isang money coach. As a great financial advisor, a money coach, what are some of the things he wanted us to learn? Una po, ang sabi niya sa chapter 22 verse 7 ng Proverbs ay ganito. The poor are ruled by the rich, and those who borrow are slaves of money lenders. Ang mahirap, malimit, ay nirurule, pinangungunahan ng mga mayaman. Lalo tigit, mga kamag-aral, tingnan po nyo ito, those who borrow, ang mahilig manghiram ng pera, ang mahilig mangutang ng pera, which is sometimes talagang kailangan ng iba. Pero ito po ang sinasabi ni Solomon, ng isang money coach patungkol sa pangungutang. Malimit ang mahilig manghiram ng pera, mangutang ng pera, slaves of money lenders. Nagiging alipin, sunod-sunuran na nagpapahiram. Ang sabi nga po ng isang tagapangaral na napakinggan ko ilang panahon na nakakaraan, ang sabi niya, kapag ikaw ay umutang at ang iyong inutangan ay nagpapatawa, kahit hindi nakakatawa ang kanyang pagpapatawa, mauobliga kang tumawa sa kanyang pagpapatawa sapagkat may utang ka sa kanya. Parang ganon. Those who borrow are slaves of money lenders. Ang sabi po ng previous verse, and if you want to see ano yung naunang talata sa chapter 22 verse 7. Ito po yun at kilalang-kilala ninyo ito. Teach your children right from wrong, and when they are grown, they will still do right. Yung previous verse ng binasa natin sa verse 7, the poor are ruled by the rich and those who borrow are slaves of money lenders. Turuan mo ang bata. Sabi ng New King James Version, the rich, doon po sa verse 7, the rich rules over the poor and the borrower is servant to the lender. Sa New King James Version, yung pong verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. It is just so interesting to me na sa verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go. And then sinundan po ng verse 7, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Hindi kaya magandang ituro natin? Ipasa natin sa ating mga anak. At simulan natin, mga kamag-aral, simulan natin na huwag tayong masanay na nangungutang. Because the Bible says, the borrower is servant to the lender. Now, we are not making an across-the-board judgment. Kasi meron naman po talagang mga lender na hindi po nanggigipit sa kanilang pinauutang o pinahihirap. We're not making everyone guilty of this. Pero marami nga po na lender, siguro alam ni Solomon, na may tendency ang isang lender na gawing tila alipin ang mga nagpapahiram. Kaya ituro natin sa ating mga anak habang bata pa, iwasan at huwag gawing ugali ang pangutang. Ano pang ating matutunan kay Solomon? Chapter 18 verse 11 ng Proverbs. Ang sabi po ay ganito, the rich think of their wealth as a strong defense. They imagine it to be a high wall of safety. May mga mayaman, akala nila ang kanilang kalasag, ang kanilang panangga ay ang kanilang kayamanan. Akala nila ito'y mataas na pader para sila yung maging safe. As sabi nga po nung verse 10, bago po yung, again, interesting na magkasunod po ito. Bago po yung sinabi yung verse 11, the rich think of their wealth as a strong defense. Sinabi po muna doon sa verse 10, the name of the Lord is a strong fortress, the godly run to Him and are safe. So makita po natin na kinontrast ni King Solomon yung tao na nagtitiwala sa Panginoon bilang strong fortress at yung mayaman na hindi nagtitiwala sa Panginoon. Maybe they are fool, mangmang, in the sense that they are not trusting the Lord. They are not dependent on the Lord. That the rich think of their wealth as a strong defense. Pero ang marunong, sila na nangatatakot sa Panginoon, their strong defense, their strong fortress is the Lord, not their money. Ano pa po ang sinabi ni King Solomon? Proverbs 28 verse 8. Ang sabi po niya at ang kanyang paalala, income from charging high interest rates will end up in the pocket of someone who is kind to the poor. Sa contemporary English version ng kanyang translation ay ganito, if you make money by charging high interest rates, you will lose it all to someone who cares for the poor. Mga kamag-aaral, ayaw ng Diyos that we're charging high interest rates. Mahirap na nga yung tao. At maaaring magbibigyan mo ng kaunting tubo. Pero wag mo naman parang halos sinasakal na siya sa paglalagay mo ng tubo doon sa hiniram niya. Maganda pa nga, huwag natin silang bigyan ng tubo kung sila ay ating tutulungan. Sapagkat nangangailangan na nga sila, mas mahihirapan pa sila minsan dahil sa matataas na interest rates na ipinapataw ng mga nagpapahiram. This is the wisdom from King Solomon. Paalala sa mga tao na ang income ay nanggagaling sa mga matataas na interest rates. And when I check on the Tagalog versions, hindi ko po nakita ang ganitong mga pangungusap, iba po ang sinasabi, and so I did not quote from the Tagalog at this point in time kasi tila man din hindi po nakuha yung pinaka-ideya dito po sa chapter 28 verse 8. Ano pa ang paalala sa atin ni Haring Solomon? Proverbs 11:24 and fill in the blanks. Tulungan niyo po ako dito. Sometimes you can become rich by being blank or poor by being blank. Sige nga po, isipin niyo nga po, paano ka nga ba magiging mayaman? How can you become rich? You can become rich by being, sabi ng iba, di huwag kang mamigay. Yayaman ka. Sarilinin mo lang. You can become rich by, sige lang, ipon lang ng ipon, ipon lang ng ipon. Itabi mo ng itabi, itabi mo ng tabi. At paano naman nagiging mahirap? You can be poor by being, well, gasta ka ng gastos. Or, kung ano nung ginagawa mo sa pera. Ano po ang karunungang itinuturo sa atin ni Solomon? Well, let's fill in the blanks. Kasi sinabi naman po niya kung ano yung mga nasa blanks na ito sa Proverbs 11:24 and 25. Ito po sa atin. Ito po yung fill in the blanks natin. Sometimes you can become rich by being generous or poor by being greedy. The paradox of life. Ang kabaliktaran ng buhay. Kita po ninyo, may paradox, may kabaliktaran. Imagine po nyo, let's linger a little bit on this verse. You can become rich by being generous. Wait. Sandali lang. Mamimigay ako para lalo akong maging sagana. Parang taliwas. Parang kabaliktaran. At wala po ito sa radar ng maraming mga tao. That becoming rich, you need to be generous. And how can you be poor? By being greedy. Masama po talaga ang greedy, pero malimit iniisip natin kapag iipunin ko ito, aking itatago ito, para ako yung magkaroon ng higit. And I'm not saying na huwag po tayong mag-save ng money, but sometimes yung greedy, yung meron ka ng sapat, hanggang sa kaapu-apuhan mo, pwede nang hindi magtrabaho. But poor, you can be poor by being greedy. It can, you can. I don't want to elaborate it, pero alam ko po maraming mga mayayaman ngayon na dahilan sa kanilang naging problema sa paghawak ng pera, they're just like a poor guy. Or maybe not literally poor, but in a very poor situation. In a poor, hindi natin alam kung anong nangyayari sa kanila ngayon. Because of this issue, greed, pananangkam, pag-iimbot. The point is generosity will be rewarded. Alam natin ito, kasabihan. Give a cup of water and you will receive a cup of water in return. Ano ba po ang itinuturo sa atin ni Haring Solomon? Well, actually yung 11:24-25, if I may add this, doon po sa New Living Translation, yung 11:24-25, maganda rin po ang salin. Ang sabi doon, give freely and become more wealthy. Be stingy and lose everything. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. One of the favorite verses of my wife, Sister Edinel, Proverbs 11:24-25. I need to work on this. Give freely and become more wealthy. Be stingy and lose everything. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Irony, ano? Kabaliktaran. Nagbibigay ka na, pwede ka pang umunlad. Nagiging tight-fisted ka na, hindi ka na namimigay, baka ikaw pang mawala. The irony of life. Proverbs is poetic. And nakikita po natin yung katotohanan sa genre na ito na tinuturo sa atin ni Solomon. Isa pa pong dapat nating matutunan sa money coach, sa isang financial advisor. Proverbs 22:26-27, don't guarantee to pay someone else's debt. If you don't have the money, you might lose your bed. Paalala po sa atin ni Solomon, huwag kang gagarantiya ng utang ng iba. Proverbs chapter 6, sinabi din po yun, 1-3. Pakibasa na lamang po. The same, huwag tayong magagarantiya ng utang ng iba. Pag sinabing, brother, sister, baka naman pwedeng ikaw maging guarantor. Pag hindi ka nag-guarantor, magagalit siya. Parang hindi ka naman kapatid. Parang hindi ka naman kamag-anak. Pero ang totoo po, it is coming from the scripture. It is a biblical principle. Do not guarantee to pay someone else's debt. Magagalit kasi hindi ka tumutulong, hindi ka nagagaranti. Ganito lamang po 'yun. Sa dakong huli, may magagalit at may magagalit din. Pag hindi niya nabayaran yung kanyang utang, ikaw ang magbabayad, may magagalit. I-fast forward na lang po niyo, unahin niyo na po yung galit ngayon. Pero wag nang padaanin sa pagkagalit. Sundin na natin ang payo ng Biblia. Sundin na natin ang money coach. Ang sabi niya, do not guarantee to pay someone else's debt, period. Wag na. Sinabi na niya eh. Hindi ito makakatulong sa anumang relasyon. May nangangailangang tao, tulungan mo nang kaya mong itulong. Iabot mo na lamang ang pwede mong iabot. Pero wag magagarantiya sa utang ng iba. Ang sabi pa nga po ng Proverbs chapter 6, kung ginawa mo yon, huwag kang matulog, bawiin mo ang sinabi mo. Kasi ayaw, hindi nga po bahagi ng biblical principle ang pagiging guarantor. Solomon has spoken. Ano pa po ang itinuturo niya as a financial advisor, as money coach? Proverbs 23, verses 4 and 5. Give up trying so hard to get rich. Your money flies away before you know it, just like an eagle suddenly taking off. Ang sabi po sa mabuting balita, Biblia, huwag mong pagurin ang sarili sa pagpapayaman. Pag-aralan mong umiwas doon sapagkat madaling mawala ang kayamanan. Ito'y simbilis ng agila sa paglipad sa kalawang. Which is true. Which is true. Give up trying so hard to get rich. Huwag mong pagurin ang sarili sa pagpapayaman. Ito'y simbilis ng agila sa paglipad sa kawalan. Madaling mawala. Madaling mawala. Kaya huwag pagurin. Paano natin i-manage ang pera natin? And this is what I would like to impress into your heart. The best that I believe Solomon said about money. Are you ready? Proverbs chapter 3, verses 9 and 10. Honor the Lord by giving him your money and first part of all your crops. Then you will have more grain and grapes than you will ever need. Marami po siyang sinabi, mga kamag-aral, patungkol po sa money management. Patungkol po sa paghawak ng pera. This is what I like the most. Solomon said concerning money, concerning your possession, honor the Lord. Honor the Lord by giving him your money and the first part of all your crops. Kinakailangan pong matuto tayong magbalik sa Diyos na pinagmulan ng lahat ng ating mga tinatangkilik. Let me refresh you on some truth about God. God does not lie. God is a promise maker. God is a promise keeper. Kaya nang sabihin ng Diyos, honor me by giving your money, then the promise, then you will have more grain and grapes than you will ever need. Kaya ko po sinabi na mahalagang maalala natin kung sino ang ating Diyos. That He does not lie. He is a promise maker. He is a promise keeper. And it is also interesting po na yung binasa natin sa Proverbs 3, 9, and 10, mababasa natin yung malimit nating naririnig na mga talataan, laging memory verse, Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. Why am I saying this? Again, it is interesting to me, context, na sinabi ni Haring Solomon, honor the Lord doon sa chapter 3, verse 9. Honor the Lord by giving Him your money. And we know that many times it is a struggle for some to give money to the Lord, to the kingdom building. Kaya ang sabi niya, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, sa context. Well, if you think that it is hard to honor me with your money, trust me with all your heart. Part po ito na dapat nating ipagkatiwala. And seek my will, and this is my will. And this is my will, that you honor me by giving your money. Sabi ni Solomon, honor the Lord by giving your money, by giving Him your money, and first part of all your crops. And if you seek His will, then He will give you His promise. Because He is not only a promise maker, He is also a promise keeper. I want you to go back to when you were in your 20s or newly graduate students. Balik po tayo. Back po tayo. When you were just 20 years old, in your 20s or 22, kagagraduate nyo lang po maybe 22 years old. Think what you had when you were just in your 20s. Marahil katatapos lang nyo ng college, o marahil may simple na kayong trabaho around 2022. Think about those days. The money you had, the property you had, if there were any, kung meron na kayong possession, lupa, nabili, 2022. Think about that, and let me tell you this, subtract them. Lahat ng meron kayo nung ngayon. Ibawas nyo yung meron kayo ng 20 years old pa lang kayo. Subtract them from what you have now, today. So, for example, you only have during those days, you were in your 20s, in your 20, mga 22 years old, kagagraduate nyo lamang, maybe you have, let's say, 20,000. Or siguro may pera ka talaga, you had 200,000. 30 years after. Maybe hindi lang 20,000 ang pera mo, maaaring may have 200,000. So 200,000 minus 20 nung ikaw ay 20 years old, 22 years old, that's 180,000 difference. Kung ikaw ay merong 200,000 nung ikaw ay 20s, nasa 20s ka, around 20s, bagong graduate ka, may pera ka na siguro. But now maybe you have 2 million. You do the math. Nung ikaw ay 20, siyempre nag-iisa ka. Ngayon, may asawa ka na, one, at meron kang dalawang anak, two, tatlo sila. And so, apat na kayo ngayon. Nung ikaw ay 20, isa ka pa lang, 4 minus 1, 3, you gain. Nung ikaw ay nag-aaral pa, nung ikaw ay nasa 20s, 20, maybe nung nasa 20s ka, around 20s, nagko-commute ka lang, ni motor wala ka marahil, motorsiklo wala, marahil nanghihiram ka lang. Ngayon, hindi lang motorsiklo, marahil may motorsiklo ka na, sa iyo na, o marahil may kotse ka pa. I-minus mo yun, yung ngayon, at yung nakaraan. And I can go on and on and on. And this is what I would like you to ask. I would like you to ask this. Is there gain or loss in your life? Are you still complaining? Let me remind you of the song, old song, Count Your Blessings. At ang sabi po ng chorus ay ganito, Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God hath done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God hath done. What kingdom living looks like, let me tell you what it looks like. Kingdom living looks like making the best of everything that you have. Live simply, love generously, care deeply, give lavishly. That's what kingdom living looks like. And again, Solomon has spoken, even and including money. Ang sabi niya, everything is meaningless, says the teacher. Completely meaningless. What do people get for all their hard work under the sun? Everything is wearisome. We are never satisfied. And again, let me quote to you his final conclusion. Chapter 12, verses 13 and 14. Here now is my final conclusion. Fear God and obey His commands. Muli po mga kamag-aaral, nagpapasalamat po ang inyong lingkod sa patuloy na inyong pakikipagkaisa sa pag-aaral ng salita ng Diyos. At sa mga talakayang kagaya nito, maraming pong salamat sa lahat na nag-share ng video na ito. Purihin ng Diyos. Salamat din po sa ating mga kasama dito sa Maniwala team na hindi napapagod na tayo tulungan na magkaroon po ng ganitong social media platform para makapagbahagi ng salita ng Diyos. Muli po ang ating papuri sa Diyos. Hanggang sa muli, Jonathan Orellasa.